YouTube, what's happening? Justin.
Hello, everybody.
Rob, welcome back to the Horological Happy Hour. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
We've missed you, and
Rob,
we are very glad to be back.
We are. I'm going to very delicately cheers you. Okay. All right. Now let's see if we can handle this without breaking any of the amazing new equipment we have in this joint.
Popping the champagne.
Come on. Who's going to do it? Oh,
hey.
Robert.
Look at that.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Whoa!
Ah! Sorry. Welcome back.
Kicking off with our usual flair.
Well, guys, I hope that you guys are also pouring yourself a nice beverage right now. Rob, cheers.
Justin.
Cheers to you guys. Thank you for joining.
Yes.
Rob, this doesn't feel right, so
Nope.
Hold on a second. I think I got a little something over here for you. There's that.
I think that's more like it.
That's much more like it. Guys, we really appreciate you joining us again after what feels like forever. I think we've been off the air for about 6 months now. But we're super excited for you guys to see kind of what we've cooked up. We always love getting, to chat with you guys on, a weekly basis, talk about all the new exciting stuff that comes into EWC. We wanted to just take it up to the next level. So we're kind of trying a little bit of a new format. There's going to be a lot of the stuff that we used to do with new arrivals. We have some really exciting interviews. We're going to do some trivia. We're going to talk about some really special pieces, including that one that's on the front of the table. So hope you guys enjoy. Make sure that you're, in the live chat, commenting, talking with us. We're going to do our best to interact as much as possible with you guys, but we're excited.
And let's talk about this new space.
Yeah.
A whole new studio here, new equipment. We've been working really hard on this, and we're really excited to bring this to you guys. So again, thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah. Cheers, Rob. For real. I won't spill this one everywhere this time. So again, actual cheers to you guys. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us again. So I mentioned it is. I mentioned, and just off the top, we're drinking Lagavulin because of course we are. I mentioned off the top that we have some exciting interviews that we're going to be sharing with you guys today. We're going to be showing you our conversation with good friend of EWC, a great client. His name is Alessandro Cortini. He is a musician. He's a composer. He builds his own instruments, and he's a member of the rock band 9 Inch Nails. Super interesting guy. Rob and I had a really awesome conversation with him a little while back. So we're going to show that to you later on in the show. So stick around. You really don't want to miss that.
Yeah, that was a really fun conversation with a guy who's really deep.
Yeah.
Like in the watch world, he's been through some stuff, and he's got, like, in his collecting journey, he's gotten to a place where, like, he has his brand and he has his stuff that he's working on, and it was just really interesting to find out how he got there and why he's there and what, like, inspires his collection. Because I feel like that's kind of the most interesting thing when you talk to other collectors is why do they do this? And why do they collect the things they collect? And why do they like what they like?
Yeah, it was cool to hear his backstory. Rob got to nerd out a little bit on the musician to musician, which was also super cool. We went to the 9 Inch Nails show in Boston the night after he was here, and they blew our minds. So super, super fun. So again, stick around. You don't want to miss that. But let's jump right into it. So we want to give you guys what you want. We want to show you the goods. So we're going to roll right into some new arrivals. Some of this stuff is live on the site right now. Some of it will be coming soon. So, as always, keep an eye out.
It's funny. I think my 3 are all on the website.
Yeah.
And I think your 3 are the true previews.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, so this is kind of funny.
But we went ahead and we grabbed 3 each. Some of our favorites that have come in recently. So we're going to kick it off. I'm going to go first, and I mean, of course, if you know me, if you've seen any of these shows, you know that, of course, the brand that I'm going to go with is Cartier. And, it just so happened that we have an insane Cartier that is going to be hitting the site really soon. This is the Cartier Tank Chinoise. This is part of the Privé line that Cartier obviously brought back. They started they kind of relaunched the Privé collection. See if I can show that to you guys. Yeah. A few years ago, this is their release from 2022. It's insane. The original Tank Chinoise was from, I believe it was 1922 was the original. So then they re-released the model 100 years later in 2022. And Rob, I'm gonna pass this over to you so that you can get it nice and tight to the camera to kind of show it off. But it's, they made a couple different models. They made a standard model that was available in yellow gold, rose gold, and platinum. Each one, was limited, like all the new Privé stuff is, to 150 pieces. And then they also made 3 skeletonized models. This is the platinum version, limited edition of only 100 pieces. It's, they had to rework the movement so that they could, do what they wanted to do with those exposed pieces that are fully lacquered with that blue and red lacquer. It's just a really absolutely gorgeous watch.
Wow, and look at the back.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And this movement was actually developed specifically for this case to begin with, for the Tank Chinoise. And, retail was around $75K. It's a 39 mil watch, 39 and a half by 29 mil. So it's kind of hard to always...
39 top to bottom.
Exactly. I always have a hard time
length,
wrapping my head around
width.
rectangular watches, how they, what the dimensions are. But the photos that we're showing, that's it on my wrist. I have about a 6.5-inch wrist, so on the smaller side, and it wears beautifully. It's a stunner. You get that high polish, you get that brush texture. It really did an amazing job of paying tribute to the original Tank Chinoise, but also updating it. Clearly, it's so, I don't know, it's just so elegant and beautiful. You got that ruby cabochon. It's Cartier at its best, in my opinion. It's really, really incredible.
That looks stunning. And I love how you can see just enough of the movement going behind all the decoration and stuff there to know that it's running and to get that feel of a true skeleton when it's almost something in between, like a skeleton and having a dial. Because the art of the dial is just as compelling as the movement underneath of it. Then you flip it over and it's amazing on the back too. So,
I mean, and obviously, I'm a sucker for Cartier. I've said it before and I'll say it again that, to be honest, a lot of the new Privé stuff, it hasn't totally worked for me because I feel like it loses a little bit of the elegance, and when they grow the designs to a more modern scale, something gets lost. But for whatever reason, I think actually the reason why is that if you look at a vintage Tank Chinoise, it looks weirdly squat and kind of compressed. And then with this modern version, they were able to expand it a little bit, and it just really works. So this is an insane piece.
I was going to say, I'm surprised that the modern Privé stuff hasn't been performing as well as I would have expected because you look at something like that, and that's high-end watchmaking.
Totally. It's amazing.
Is truly incredible.
And again, there's, what did I say, 100 pieces of the skeletonized platinum. So super rare. I mean, this has been out for 3 years now, and this is the first one that we've seen of the skeletonized Tank Chinoise. So killer piece. Keep an eye out on that for that one on our website, probably within the next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like
that. What are you going with, Rob, for your first pick?
I want to start with a house favorite brand here at European Watch Company, which is Blancpain. And this is an incredible 8 days with an enamel dial. And this is the kind of watch where I look at this and I can't believe that this is on the web for $20,000.
Yeah, $19,900, just under.
This is a true black enamel dial, and you can see how glossy and deep and rich and gorgeous this thing is. There's even at the very bottom, there's these 2 little Blancpain bees that are kind of set into the enamel the way that you see the hidden signatures on the breguets and things like that. And it is really stunning. And then if you flip it over, it becomes even more impressive because we're looking at an 8-day manual wind movement from manufacturer Blancpain. This was originally found only in the Le Brassus collection where they did it in that platinum 8-day, and then they moved it out into some of the more standard series like this one, which I believe is from 2022. And it's just...
These are always so impressive to me because like you're saying, if you didn't tell someone what brand this watch was, what model it was, if you just listed off all of the characteristics, the components of this watch from 8-day manual wind movement, the gorgeous black enamel dial, like the rose gold case, the movement, the action on the movement is insane.
It feels like wearing a pocket watch.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
But again, if you just started listing off the characteristics of this watch, somebody would not, you wouldn't be crazy if you said, oh, I think a watch with all of those features is $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And Blancpain, for better and for worse, like it just doesn't get the same attention that other brands do. It is always kind of flown under the radar. One thing that we love, we always talk about is that like I don't know if I've ever seen a Blancpain outside of maybe the 50 Fathoms with a 4-digit serial number.
Yeah.
They're almost always in 3 digits, so under 1,000 pieces. It's just low production, super high quality, and like a ton of watch for the money. It's
a
killer.
Smaller company than most people think.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like it's a lot lower production than a lot of people think. And I think when you handle them, especially, like you realize how well the continuity of design is. Like it really flows through. The case shape is perfect. The case size is perfect. Like I love the double steps on the bezel. And you look at the movement in the back, they made it as tight as they possibly could. It's not like there's a ton of extra space. It's not like they made it big for the sake of making it big. It had to be this. Nice double fold, spring-loaded deploy. Like there's nothing I don't like about this watch.
Yeah, killer. Love it. That's on the site right now, $19.9. Look out for it. All right, next. I'm going to continue.
Something very different.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Robert, I feel like you picked, like, under the radar, super cool special, and I just, like, as usual, was like, I want the craziest thing that I can find in here. So
but this is under the radar.
This is insanely under the radar, and, like, you guys might not even know what this is.
I didn't know what this was.
To be honest, until I bought this piece from a very good client of mine, good friend, I had never even heard of this watch. So this is a Beyer Rattrapante. Rob, I'm going to pass it off so that we can get a nice tight shot, so you can show it off and I can tell everybody a little bit about it. So this is super, super, super rare, like less than a dozen pieces made. So this was made in 1982 by legendary, Swiss retailer Beyer. And they created a small batch, like I said, no one really knows for sure. There's not clear record, but it seems to be less than a dozen. As gifts for Beyer staff, friends, and family.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say, I've seen watches that are co-branded with Beyer, but I've never seen singularly branded
This
Beyer.
is branded Beyer, period.
Yeah.
So, and if you're not familiar, so Beyer is the oldest continually running watch boutique in the world, based in Zurich. They're currently run by the 8th generation of the Beyer family. They first opened as a watch retailer in 1760. That's 5 years after Vacheron started operation.
Were they selling like original Breguets?
Yeah, exactly. Like Abraham Louis was dropping watches off or something. But insanely rare. So you get a 37 millimeter yellow gold case with that champagne dial. You get date, moon phase, and that split-second Rattrapante complication, and it's powered by a Venus caliber 179 movement. So legendary, super high quality movement that just, by sheer virtue of the Beyer family being as established as they are, being in business for as long, having all of the relationships in the industry that they obviously built up over, which it's insane, but centuries of operation. It was the previous generation, so it was the father of the current kids who are running it right now. I can't remember what his name was, but this was like his passion project that he created back in the early 80s.
This case is incredible,
yeah,
too.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
This bezel is like, it's the Chrysler building on your wrist. I mean, this is Art Deco to the max. This is so lovely. And it's sharp.
This is a gorgeous example. Really, really sharp piece. Yeah. It's got that old kind of like,
it's so good,
almost vintagey feel to it when you wind it.
I want to push the buttons, but you poise the hands so
I was going to say, I have it all set for the camera, Rob. Please don't mess with it. But yeah, no, insane piece. Like, this is one that it's like, first of all, I doubt, unless this one comes back to us after we sell it, I have I don't expect to ever see one ever again. Again, we didn't even know that it existed. Like, I had to do I went on a deep dive to find information on it because again, I had no idea that this had been created. But it's really special. It's really pretty in person. I really it's 1982, but it doesn't feel dated at all.
It feels like it's from the 50s, actually. Yeah. It feels like it's
timeless.
A 1950s or an early 60s watch or something. It doesn't feel like an 80s watch, because the 80s were kind of dark for watches.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, 82 was peak quartz crisis, essentially. So they created something really special using those, those Venus movements and everything. So,
all right,
killer piece.
Let's keep moving.
Yep.
Do we have any comments?
Yeah, we do. We got a ton. Thank you guys so much.
Man.
Well, it's a lot of people just saying that watches are great.
I'm touched. But I'm glad to have you all back.
We really, again, we appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
All right, so can't have a show without a Panerai. I physically can't do it.
He's not able.
I will be in pain.
We've tried.
So I wanted to pull out this specific radio mirror because it looks fairly standard from the outside, but it's actually quite a unique watch. So this is a 47 mil titanium case, but it doesn't wear like some of the other historics where it's got the big bulky 3-day movement in it, which makes it really thick. This sits nice and flush to the wrist, and this has the Minerva caliber in it, which to me is very, very cool. Minerva, back before they were bought by Mont Blanc, they were a titan of movement making, and some of those mono pusher chronographs and things like that.
I mean, that's what they're known for.
Are also legendary movements. But this, to me, this is such a great looking movement. I love the way they finished this off, and it's not super skeletonized, super crazy, but it's just enough to be interesting. Beautiful, bold striping.
Rob, no shots at Panerai, but this is probably the first Panerai with a display back that we've had that I have actually thought was warranted. I mean, again, no shots at Panerai. I actually very much like them as well. I love the aesthetic. They're too big for me, but I love the aesthetic. But for real, it's gorgeous decoration. It's a really stunning movement. It's very cool that it. Well, you go ahead.
And if you look just inside, you can see it almost looks like the inside, like a Rolex case back on the inside of the watch around the dial there, because it's got the keyed indentations all along the inside, and it's the subtlest of details.
It makes all the difference, though.
So cool, but because that with the gold hands and then titanium case, and the 47 doesn't feel so bad because it's wire lugs.
Right.
So really, the watch stops at 47,
right,
top to bottom, side to side. And so this is super wearable. I would even wear this as I'm dressed right now with, a jacket and shirt sleeves, because this would go under the cuff. And it's one of those cool, niche, little, hard to find Panerais that to me is very cool. And they've never done anything similar since.
I was going to say, Rob, do you know roughly when this watch was made, when it came out?
Oh, I don't remember the year.
I'm just trying to place it kind of in the the world of Panerai, in my head, because I don't remember when this came out. I don't remember
the number on it,
how this came about, what the relationship was between Minerva and Panerai, what happened, but I'm glad it exists. It's super cool.
I think it's a K serial, which would make it
oh my God, you're such a Panerai nerd.
Something like that. So it's probably a 20-year-old watch.
Cool watch. Super cool watch. That one is available right now for $22,500 on our website. That's a killer one.
It's so cool. And I think it's a nice full set too. So which is cool, because if you're buying something collectible like that, that's a niche LE, you want to have this.
Totally. 100% agree.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we should do one more.
Okay.
I think we squeeze in your last one because
we have to.
We have to.
We have to.
We have to.
So this is a piece unique 3970 2R Patek. So this, if you're familiar with piece unique Pateks, you'll know the name Michael Ovitz. And this is an Ovitz commission. Rob, I'm going to go ahead and pass this off so that you can go ahead and show it off. But anyways, this is a 3970, rose gold 3970 on a rose gold woven mesh bracelet, integrated woven mesh bracelet with a sunburst brown dial, a Breguet 12. You get rose gold studs and luminous pips, luminous hands, and then you have, down at 6 o'clock, Michael Ovitz monogram, MOS. So if you don't know kind of the backstory of this watch, Ovitz was like a legendary Hollywood agent. He was the former president of Disney. He founded CAA, which was like a talent representation, agency. He repped Spielberg, Tom Cruise, Dustin Hoffman, like a bunch of big names. He, I think it was the early 2000s. He worked with Patek essentially to create a whole bunch of some of the craziest, coolest one-off piece unique commissions that I have ever seen. We've seen a few other Ovitz pieces over the years. We have a few others that are coming soon. This one blew my mind when I first saw it. This thing is completely insane. Obviously, 3970 is like Grail watch to begin with, but then when you put it in rose gold with a brown dial, all these like little details that put it over the top.
This is so different though. This almost isn't even a 3970 to me anymore because like not having the lugs on it, the way that changes the profile of this watch is really interesting. And this dial is so incredibly dynamic. Like it goes from this really deep chocolate brown to like a bright champagne almost. And then the Breguet 12, the pips, the scale.
Luminous hands, dude, on a 3970. Like, come on.
This thing, and this is an old school cut to fit bracelet. This has never been cut. This has never been worn. This is a unicorn.
Yeah. It's a piece unique Patek, like piece unique Grand Comp Patek. I don't even know what to say about it. I would sell a kidney for that watch. I don't think my kidney is worth enough for me to get that. For me to get that watch, I'd sell one of mine and one of Rob's. How about that?
Oh, that'd be worse.
But just unbelievable piece. That's coming soon to our website as well. Keep an eye out on it. We're gonna have some pretty incredible photography on our Instagram page on the website. So look out for that stuff. Rob,
watch.
Do you want to move on or?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we gotta keep it moving. I think it is time for the news.
Okay. So we want to talk about Geneva Watch Days. If you guys are not familiar, Geneva Watch Days just happened this past weekend. It was Thursday through Sunday, I believe, or maybe Monday, I don't remember. Geneva Watch Days is basically Watches and Wonders' more casual counterpart.
Yeah.
It's their cool brother who whatever didn't go to college, just dropped out of college or something.
The fun uncle.
It's the fun uncle of watch shows. So it's 65 plus brands that show pieces in Geneva over the course of 4 or 5 days. They're not doing it, like Watches and Wonders style in a big conference hall, with booths and the craziness. They're more, they have a hotel suite or a boutique or some little space throughout the city. They show off some new models.
A lot of it almost feels like open studios kind of
exactly.
thing, where
that's the idea.
invite
That's the
people
idea.
back to the manufacturer, to the flagship boutique there in Geneva, and you get a more intimate experience. And a lot of brands use this as a time to release some new watches mid-year, because it used to be that everything happened back in the spring, and then that was it. Maybe you'd have an LE or two here and there, but there weren't a lot of releases at that point. So then this created an opportunity to say, hey, we don't have to put it all out there in the spring. Here's some cool stuff.
Well, it's great. Now we get Watches and Wonders in the spring. We get Geneva Watch Days at the end of the summer, and then we get Dubai Watch Week in the fall. It's November. So it's really nice. We get a whole, throughout the year, like Rob is saying, we get some interesting releases. And of those 65 plus brands that were there, a lot of really awesome watches were debuted.
I was impressed. Some of these brands really brought the heat.
Rob and I picked a handful that we want to talk about. We'd love in the chat, let us know what your favorite release of Geneva Watch Days was, but our favorites, we want to kick it off with the Gérald Genta Minute Repeater.
What a surprise.
I know. This is another one that when I saw photos of, I was blown away. And then when I saw footage of it on people's wrists, heard it chiming, this is so special. So, Louis Vuitton obviously revived the Genta brand 2 years ago, I think, 2023, something like that, 2022. They debuted that first model last year, and then a couple of those Cousin style, the spikes and everything. And then this year, now we've got this. So this is a 40 mil minute repeater, so yellow gold cushion style case, kind of.
Yeah.
It's 9.5 mil thick, so for a minute repeater, that's insane.
That's thin.
It's got a polished black onyx dial and an onyx cabochon, so you get that super, super deep, inky black dial, then with the yellow gold indices and hands, like the super slim, elegant hands and indices. That central lug, which is, a Genta signature essentially, looks incredible. It's got a manual wind movement.
Lugs would have ruined this
Totally.
watch. Lugs, like if you put lugs on this watch, it's over. Don't bother.
Agreed.
Like this thing, that lugless design, that makes it.
It's amazing.
I'm so glad they made this in yellow gold.
Me too. I honestly, looking at it, I can't picture it in anything else.
No.
I don't really, it doesn't have the same impact if it was platinum.
Well, that's the thing, right? You would think for like a minute repeater, although I've heard platinum's not the best for a minute repeater because it doesn't sound as good.
True.
But to do this in yellow to me with that stark black and that plain like calfskin strap, like so slick. And what I love about minute repeaters is a lot of them are like if you wear it, it just looks like a watch.
Yes.
It doesn't look like something crazy. And this would be like, oh, is that an ellipse? You know, like nobody would think anything of it.
Because the slide is it's so subtle.
I love it.
I love it too. So you get obviously manual wind movement. It's got 80 hours of power reserve. You get a full display back, and one little like Easter egg that I love, the inertia wheel in the movement is up in the upper right of the movement. You can see it's octagonal, which is super cool because that obviously harkens back to previous Genta designs from the 90s. You had like the Donald Duck and the Mickey Mouse and all those piees. So this is their only...
Royal Oak, cough, cough.
Royal Oak, yeah. But I was talking about strictly Genta, like Genta branded pieces.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. They're going to make 10 pieces per year, and the price is, if you got to ask, you can't afford it. So nobody knows. But
if you can hear it, you can't afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's generally the way it goes.
All right, Alessandro in the chat. Hey man, what's up?
Yo!
He said, of course, the Lange 1815 Tourbillon. We're getting to it. Don't worry. We'll be talking about that in just a second. So next up on our list of favorites, the Furlan Marri Disco. This blew me away. I love this thing. Like, Furlan Marri is one of those brands that I have, for better or worse, I just haven't really paid attention to. They debuted, I want to say it was like 2022, something like that, 2021. And they started off making, quartz, mecha quartz kind of things. And, at a affordable price point with some interesting vintage-inspired designs. And then they really have kicked it up over the past couple of years. I know they made that Chrono a year or two ago, and now they debuted this. So this obviously pulls inspiration from vintage. I mean, I would say probably Patek or AP Disco Volantes from the 50s. This is not
similar to the 3970 we were just talking about, where you have this true round case, and then you have a true integrated bracelet.
So
right?
interestingly, this is not integrated.
Oh.
If you look at it, so from the back, see?
Oh, look at that.
You can actually swap out
You can swap
So
it.
anyways, stainless steel case.
Would.
Reminds me a lot of like the Patek 3418, if you guys are familiar, the convertible from the 50s. Super cool piece. Look it up if you're not familiar. But anyways, 38 millimeter stainless steel case. Got that woven steel bracelet, or you can get it, I think it comes with both, the steel bracelet or the leather strap. Black onyx style again, and then it has lab-grown diamond indices to obviously keep the price down, which awesome. Go ahead.
You know what I really love about this is this. We see a lot of, especially micro brands and things like that, where they put a lot of emphasis on the movement and like making a movement, and like not a micro brand, but Nomos comes to mind, where like Nomos has in-house movements in it, which if you're a movement guy, that's very cool. I actually like this, where the movement is not particularly remarkable, right?
It's not, but that being said,
but the case, the dial, and the bracelet are killer. And I'd rather wear this watch than something with an in-house movement.
Me too, 100%. So they use it's a Peso caliber 7001, which is Peso is a ETA subsidiary essentially. Movement gets used in Chrono Swiss, Mont Blanc, a whole bunch of other Nomos. Even Ludovic Ballaward actually uses it as the base in the upside down. Anyways. They're only making 100 pieces of this for 2025, and it's priced at 3,500 Swiss francs.
They're gone.
As soon as Rob and I saw photos of this, I immediately went on their website to see if I could buy one, and they were already sold out, which was actually tragic because I would love to wear that all the time. Yeah. Super cool. Let's jump right to that Lange now, Rob.
Let's do the Lange. Let's fit it in because when I saw this, I was blown away. Lange has introduced a new 1815 Tourbillon with a black enamel dial. I have seen this one other time when Lange did the Lange 1 Tourbillon with a black enamel dial.
Yep.
And I have been lucky enough to see one in person. It is one of the most gorgeous Langes I have ever seen.
Yes, it is.
And I think this actually might even work a little bit better because now you're getting that giant tourbillon that they put on the 1815. If I have one gripe with the Lange 1 Tourbillon, it's that the tourbillon's kind of small.
Yep.
You know, it's not like
it doesn't have this. It doesn't have the same
tourbillon,
visual it doesn't smack you in the face the way that this one does.
And I love a time-only tourbillon where, you know, it's big, it's legible, it's perfect, but then the main focus is the tourbillon.
Yeah, the aperture.
Right? Because that is it. That's what you bought the watch for. That's the whole idea, is so that when you're sitting there and you're in a business meeting and you're bored, you can stare at your watch and go to your happy place.
And I mean, so 39. This is the standard 39.5 mil case. Now, in platinum with the black enamel dial. That obviously we'd be very lucky to see it ever in person, but in photos the dial looks insane. They're making 50 pieces only, and retail is $218,000 US.
Not crazy. For what that is.
For what it is, and for how
crazy.
limited it is, for the zero, this was the first zero reset hacking tourbillon when it debuted in 2014. In my opinion, that's still impressive. That's still so special. And then just paired with platinum black enamel, this is killer. I'm a huge fan, huge fan.
Lange does black dials better than anybody else, and I think this is going to be a home run.
Yes. All right, guys. Those were our favorites from Geneva Watch Days. I saw in the comments somebody mentioned the Berneron. Sorry, I always want to say Berneron. The Berneron Quantieme Annuel. That was our fourth pick. We don't have time to get to it, but that one's amazing as well.
A lot of interesting chatter about that online too.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of interesting discourse about that watch in terms of a lot of conversation about the price. The fact that it's 120,000 Swiss francs.
All right, so the one thing I'm going to say about it, so this year, they're making 48 total pieces a year for the next 10 years. They're going to make 24 of each colorway.
Okay.
This year, if you get an allocation this year, it's 120,000 Swiss francs. Right. If you get an allocation for 2026, it's 130,000 Swiss francs. And if you get an allocation for 2027, it's 140. So they're just
hedging for inflation.
Yeah, smart, but crazy.
I don't know. What I've seen of it, at least in pictures, I think the movement actually looks very cool. I think that there's a lot going on there that is going to be really interesting. But it was an interesting conversation for a brand that kind of only just got started and started in the way that they did. Because that first watch from them was nothing like this.
If you want to roll it real quick, Kevin, we'll talk about it for a couple of seconds. The other thing that I'm so impressed with from Berneron, so Sylvain Berneron, the designer, who founded the brand, after the Mirage and after the runaway success that kind of crash for, it's not, I don't want to belittle the watch, but it's, a crash inspired design essentially. After the runaway success of that, he very publicly stated that, I don't want to be the crash inspired brand. Right. I don't want to be defined by this one creation as amazing as it is and as much as people love it. So he thought that the best way to avoid that and avoid being pigeonholed would be to go kind of in not the opposite direction, but to go complicated as opposed to design focused. And this really is very, very interesting. The way that he created this.
I think it's a great way to do an annual counter complication like this, with, I don't know if it's a jump hour or a wandering hour.
It's a jump hour, yeah.
And with a jump hour, and then a movement that kind of smacks of Acrivia in some ways.
A little bit,
Ricchepi, it really
double barrel,
looks cool.
It's,
nice symmetry.
If you guys,
cool watch.
Dive deeper into it. We're going to jump off of that because we have something incredibly special that we want to talk about. So one thing that we really want to do, one of kind of the recurring segments that we'd like to bring to you guys is what we're calling What's It Like in Real Life. So Rob and I know that given what we do and where we are, we're incredibly lucky because we get to handle some of the most insane stuff that, in the watch world. Stuff that if we weren't here, we would never have the opportunity to see, never have the opportunity to put on our wrists. And we want to show you guys what these pieces are actually like in real life.
And this was something that I thought was really interesting because there have been many times where I have like ogled watches in photos and like on Instagram and been like, man, I can't wait till we get this in the store. This is going to be incredible. I'm going to love this watch. And then we get it in the store and I put it on my wrist and I'm like, man. And then there's been other stuff where I've completely ignored it.
Yep.
And then we get it in the store and I'm like, whoa, this is actually incredible.
Agreed.
So pictures and specs are one thing, but getting to handle it and feel it and everything is different. And so we thought we would start.
Well, we're gonna start with the piece that I consider myself incredibly lucky that we have this on the table right here. So we have a reference 6239 Paul Newman Daytona. Robert, I'm gonna give this right to you so that you can show it off to the people. So when you think of the Paul Newman Daytona, the image that inevitably is, in all of you guys that are watching, all of your heads, is a 6239 exotic dial Paul Newman. This is the quintessential Paul Newman Daytona. This is the,
This is his reference.
This is his reference.
The reference.
And
this
same
is
configuration.
Not the watch, but this is the reference that sold for $17 million at Phillips back in, what was that, 2017?
I think, yeah.
And the funny thing is so many people have something like this, like they'll say, like, what's your Grail watch? And people will say a Paul Newman. But what a lot of people don't realize, this watch is quite small.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, obviously we've been lucky to handle a lot of other vintage Daytona, so it wasn't a total shock when this, when we got this piece and when I got to play around with this piece. But 37 mil is small by modern standards. And if you're familiar with modern Daytonas, that actually, it feels completely different. Obviously visually there's plenty of, you can see kind of the bloodline, if you will, but totally different.
Yeah, the bracelet tapers to what, 12 or 14 mil at the back here, so it's actually quite small. This has the correct folded steel rivet bracelet, which is very thin. I mean, this was like the best they could do.
Like, look at that, it's insane.
This was the best they could do at the time in terms of working with steel, and it is sturdy, but compared to a modern Rolex bracelet, it feels so different. And I love this.
Right.
I love the feel of these old bracelets where they're a little bit rattly and they're a little bit lightweight, and it almost has a delicacy to it that you don't get with modern Rolex.
The word that comes to mind, or that came to my mind, was delicate, which it's not, because at its heart it is still a stainless steel Rolex. You know what I mean? Yes, it's 60 years old, but it is if you're used to handling modern Rolex, with solid end links, with the flip lock clasps, it's going to feel incredibly delicate. It's got like jokingly we always say that the clasp has like a tin can element to it.
Yep.
But I love it, like,
because it's just like a stamped piece of steel. It's a little sheet of steel that they stamped.
Right. In person, honestly, the dial is as good as it looks in, like, all the photos that you've seen from auction catalogs and other websites and things over the years. It's that good in person. It's that cream dial with the black subdials with that Art Deco kind of font and those funky square serifed markers, that outer red seconds track and everything. Like, it's really cool. The white tip of the chrono hand, like the way that it contrasts to the black and red second track, like it's pretty special.
Sitting with this on my wrist, there's something about it.
Yeah.
There is something about this watch where, like, you wear this and it's like, it is a different experience. I don't know how to describe it. Like, if you were somebody who was hoping that it was going to be bigger, then you probably might be disappointed. You'll be like, oh man, I thought there was more there. I don't know, it feels too small, too delicate, too dainty. But if you know what you're getting into and you do get the opportunity to put this on your wrist, I think you will, in fact, be floored.
Yeah. Like,
it is really.
Well, I think what it comes down to is this is that piece, that thing that lives, like, we all, if you're a watch collector, if you're a fan, if you like vintage watches, even if you're just into modern watches, like, I guarantee everybody has that image in their head of what a Newman Daytona is. And, like, when I think of a vintage Rolex, the vintage Rolex that pops into my head, it's not a sub, it's not a Milgauss, it's not a whatever. it's an exotic dial Daytona. Like that is the image, and like yes, that's why people pay the crazy money. Like that's why Newman's is was such an event and everything. But it lives up to it. Like
to me, the fact that this wasn't an event when it came out makes it better.
It
the
sold
fact
like
that
crap.
this didn't sell well because people thought this was ugly.
Right.
And people, like, dealers begged to send these back and have Rolex put standard Daytona dials on these. Could you
imagine? Jeez.
Because they couldn't sell them. And we've had stories from firsthand old timers who were like, oh yeah, I bought one for $250 because they couldn't wait to get rid of it.
Well, that and the stories of dealers, of watches being full sets. This watch is from the mid to late 60s and having papers that are dated from the mid to late 70s because dealers were not able to sell them because people just didn't care.
Sad.
So it's...
I love this with the pump pushers. This is my favorite reference.
Agreed,
I like the 6239s, whether it's a Newman or a straight Daytona dial. If you were going to give me a manual wind Daytona, I would want a 6239 like this. I love the pump pushers over the screw down pushers. And it's just, there's something about the space on the dial.
Yeah.
The fact that it doesn't have 8,000 lines of text on it.
Yeah, well that's the thing, right? There's so much negative space on this dial, like which now with any, even a vintage piece from the 70s or 80s, you get 4 lines or 3 extra lines underneath the Rolex signature. Like it's just totally
Which works.
different. So
I love a modern Daytona. Don't get me wrong. Again, if anybody wants to buy me a steel bezel Zenith Daytona black dial, I'd be happy.
I'll send you my address. Don't worry. Yeah.
But there's something about the fact that can breathe.
Yes.
The dial. It's anyway.
So.
It's wonderful in real life.
Yeah, I know, right? We're gonna
there you go.
Let us know, like if there are actually other watches that you guys would like us to kind of do a little bit a deeper dive of what's it like in real life kind of thing. Obviously we're working through this new format and figuring out what works best. But we would love to hear from you guys any pieces that are mythical pieces in your minds that you would love to see just kind of handled on the wrist. Us talk about because we love obviously. Clearly talking about this kind of incredible stuff.
Yeah, if we have it, we'll do it. Like if you ask us for a $24.99, we can't do it.
But we'll keep notes though.
Maybe we can grab the supply card and write it off as a business expense.
All right. Well, now we're really excited actually to roll our just actually like a selection of a part of our interview with Alessandro. Again, we sat down, we chatted with him about kind of the origins of his passion for collecting and his passion for watches, how it relates to the more musical aspect of his life, and just kind of what his favorite brand is, where he's at, what he's into. We hope you guys really enjoy our chat with Alessandro Cortini. Today, Rob and I have the distinct pleasure of sitting down with our good friend and client, Alessandro Cortini. Alessandro is a renowned musician, composer, producer, instrument builder, and a member of the influential electro-industrial rock band 9 Inch Nails. Most importantly, though, he is a fellow watch enthusiast. Alessandro, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure.
So you guys are like right in the middle of the tour right now, correct?
We have about 3 weeks left.
And you started in Europe, you came, I don't know if there was the first half there, and then you came over here. Is there one particular stop on the tour that has been like really memorable, or is there a venue or a city that you're looking forward to playing kind of in the last couple of the tour?
We've been very lucky because Nine Inch Nails fans are extremely appreciative and, they're the best.
Yeah.
So they're all been great, to have in a bad show that I feel I had, and so the next step is the cities where I had a day off and I could go watch touring.
There you go.
Like tourism. I mean, with watches, to me, I've learned fairly early that the chance to try one on or see it in the flesh, both from a dial color, how they feel, how they look on you.
Yep.
It's always better to try them on and just to see how they feel.
Of course.
So if I get the chance to see something, not necessarily to buy it, but just to get the experience, I usually take it.
So for the tour, have you seen any pieces that really stood out as that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen?
Well, as I was mentioning before, it's the first time that I visited a Richard Mille boutique. And so it was the first time that I actually tried some of those pieces on, and I got the chance to see what they're about and how they feel and look at the technical, incredible abilities of such watches. And I always look to places that have a Lange Zone boutique.
Of course.
Just because the experience there is so, regardless of who you are, it's always, they're always going to show you things that, that are not common.
Yeah.
So I've had the chance to see minute repeater Zeitberg, which I'd never seen before, and then to buy a couple of extra straps for my watches, which is, the most affordable way to feel like you have a new one.
Of course, yeah.
And so that's usually what I try to do. I look at what Lange boutiques are around the world, and then
Put a little asterisk next to that tour stop.
Nice Houston.
There you go. Oh, you already know where the next one is.
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
of course. And then obviously here, because I knew there was a Pour Le Mérite that you guys had on the side for a little bit, and I wanted to see it because I've never had the chance. It's such a historical piece that I've never had the chance to see it in the flesh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty special to be able to see one of the watches that Lange relaunched the brand with back in '94. Like there's something really, truly special about that original collection.
Yeah, and it's just the way that they came out, just like out of the blue with that lineup.
Yep.
That, at a time where, from nothing,
right?
Nothing, not historically, but just nothing as far as products, and just like bam, Lange 1, Arcade, the Pour Le Mérite
icons they gave.
Yeah. Just like that, it's just like nothing to say.
Yeah.
It's just
And you think about it within the context of the 90s as well, because the 80s were not the strongest era for watches and like the high watch industry, right? It was like still kind of crisis era. There wasn't a lot going on. And to think about a brand coming out like that in the 90s is kind of wild.
Yeah.
Like with like high class tourbillon, fusee chain, like that must have been a real kind of almost shock to the public to like come out.
I think so, but also you're thinking about who it came from. I mean, the team, and then just how, I don't think they could have done anything else. And I think also there's a certain amount of luck in all those paths line up at the same time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because, of Walter Lange's history and the team that brought the company back is just, it was every
line and
the boom line and how it all happened at a specific time and just what they had to offer and how they could build on that legacy and the strength, obviously, to have a, some people might have called it pretentiousness, to come out with models that are so different as opposed to trying to piggyback to known designs of theirs or not, but like to something that was more relatable, such as, say Aquanaut or Royal Oak, things that are or in the vein of that, like the Ingenieur, or like things that sort of follow a specific, aesthetic or grammar, like like a design grammar.
Yeah, just a safer bet. You know?
And I think that comes from a place of not pretentiousness, but a place of love for what you do. That it can't be. Of course, there's a business responsibility. There always is at that level, and it's luxury items, however you want to describe them, that's what they are.
Yep.
But that at the end is just people that love what they do in a way that I think it's very unique. Obviously, I don't have, I haven't had the chance to visit a lot of places as far as watchmaking, but when I visited the Lange Zone facilities, I've noticed a family of people.
Yeah.
Working towards the same goal with the same passion and attention to detail, that it didn't seem like to be dictated by a job position.
Yeah.
It just felt like
from top to bottom, you got that same sense of passion and commitment.
You see rare watches being walked back into the chain and everybody can see what they worked on. Like it feels like there's a certain amount of community that, plus it's in this beautiful place in the middle of nowhere. It's like
Blasuta.
I mean, I hate to describe it that way because it's a very significant
of course,
location, but it's just like beautiful. And there's, I was very impressed because the stations where they work and all the finishing, there's big windows. So it's and it's nature right outside. But also it's, there's a space between the window and the working location. So the sun never hits.
Interesting. That the actual desk.
That they thought about stuff like that as well, because you're thinking somebody's working there, it's like 3 or 4 hours, the sun is right at you and it's shining on you. It's not comfortable.
How German.
I was going to say, that is so very German.
This is like a...
They've considered everything.
There's like a Lange space, essentially. That's why I feel like there's Lange in the design of the building as well, and so...
I'm getting the sense that this is your favorite brand.
Yeah. And also it's been a a path, really. I haven't, you know, it all started with my family, with my father, and inheriting my dad's Rolex, which was a 1990 date with a Roman numeral dial, white, and engine turn label, 34 millimeter.
Yeah.
Engine turn bezel, sorry. And I remember being with him when he bought it, when he got his specialization in gastroenterology. You know, I come from a family where there weren't many watches, but watches marked
They had significance.
Yeah.
specific events. So I grew up with that. And so it's not like my dad was it was for him. And it's always been a very personal thing. It wasn't about status symbol. It wasn't about fitting into a specific, it was very personal.
Yeah.
So I remember being with him when he bought it. I remember him giving me, I was telling you, the little holograph.
Yeah, the tag, yeah.
Hologram tag, which is the only thing that got lost, obviously, because I was so young to play with. They gave it to me to play with. And then shortly before my father passed away, he gave it to me. And then after he passed away, I found the boxes and everything and the receipt of when he bought it. And I went back to the AD that in my hometown that sold it. And I showed it to the kids, the sons of the owner that my father bought it from, now around the shop.
A second generation speaking to each other, both,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Exactly. So that was, you know, that was, to me, it was very nice,
moment.
you know. And
But did you have a watch growing up? Do you remember what your first watch was?
my first watch was a Casio Melody watch that had, I can't remember the model. I still have it. It had like a musical staff on it. You could set your birthday and would play Happy Birthday.
Nice.
And the funny thing about it is that I discovered it, again, I emptied my parents' place, and I remember it being loud when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And now, you know, very simple speaker with like it's a beeps, tuned beeps, right? And then I realized that I wasn't hearing certain notes, and I'm like, oh, I need to have it fixed. And I realized, no, those notes are too high.
No way it was you?
Unless I put it here. Unless I put it close to and it's just like you realize that, you know, like I have good hearing.
I hope so, yeah.
But, you know, certain frequencies you're just with age or just, you don't lose, but they get soft, you know, they get softer. Like in the studio when everything's loud is one thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, like a little watch here that, you know, so you start hearing, you know, certain notes from, you know, Happy Birthday that are not, it's like, wait, that's not the melody.
Yeah. I think it's missing something.
That kind of leads me to an interesting place, because I was thinking about this. I was listening to some of your music that you've put out, you know, under your name. And, you know, it's electronic music.
Yeah.
But it feels very analog. And from some of the other things I've looked at online, like you talking about the Tascam tape recorder and talking about the Strega and things like that, there's a very big like analog component to what you do. And it seems like the way you make music and create, like even though it's electronic digital music, it's still rooted in this analog tradition.
Yeah.
And do you think that is kind of why you're drawn to mechanical watches as well? Because both of them are like a little anachronistic.
Yeah, that's a great question. I never thought of it in those terms, but I do believe that analog machines, just like watches, just the amount of complication involved in building something like that to reach a specific task, and then not only reaching that task, but embellishing in a way where, in the case of the watches, there's obviously visual and less so tactile, but like for machines, there's a lot of tactile approach to it, and the fact that you have to play them with your hand, not with your eyes or a mouse. Sure. You know what I mean? I think it adds a certain amount of involvement and if you're a creative person or you like to have a connection with the things, I think it adds a layer of, I don't want to call it satisfaction, but it just feels like when you make music on a machine like that, it feels more emotionally complete to me.
Well, you're getting that feedback directly.
And also there's less precision, you know, there's less precision involved. And I'm not a person that knows what he wants when he sits down and makes music. I'm a little bit like a child. I do enjoy having a discussion with the machine and see if there's, like with a toy, you know, like play with this for a while, see what comes out. Oh, that's unexpected. Yeah. Let's go down that rabbit hole and see where it leads. But with excitement, never frustration.
It's interesting to think about it as you're bringing something to the creation process, but that also the instrument itself is bringing something to the creation process as well, and being open to that like dialogue between yourself and the instrument.
Exactly.
It's kind of like where, it's a beautiful.
And I think watches do the same, you know, in a way, for me, watching in a different way, do the same thing. And at the bottom line, I feel better wearing them.
Even the way you talk about like interfacing with a musical instrument in that way, I find that like for me, interfacing with a watch, like when you pick it up in the morning and you wind it and you set it, I've never understood winders because I enjoy that little cathartic moment that you have of like winding and setting the watch. And the first thing I do when I pick it up is I wind it because I want that tactile experience of like, what does this watch feel like? What is my
100%.
interaction with this machine? And to me, that's a big draw of like mechanical watch versus, you know, my G-Shock keep great time. They're perfect, right? And Apple Watches are super useful, but I'll still stick with this because I appreciate that interaction.
What adds to your daily life. And I mean, obviously G-Shock, I own G-Shocks and I don't own Apple Watch, but I mean, I think there's a for everything and it works. So an Apple Watch is more adding to your life and adding to it with data and, you know, analytics and stuff like, which has a place. Very useful. I'm not here to say one is better than others, but for me, if I have something on my wrist, I like to have, you know, a connection and I'm, for example, I love it when ones have been left, you know, manual watches have been left for a long time because I know there'll be a lot of clicking and a lot of, I love it because I know it'll be more that I'll spend, you know, setting it up.
What's next?
I was gonna say,
where
what
are you headed like in your watch journey from here?
I would like eventually to own a well, maybe not a grand complication, but either tourbillon or perpetual calendar. I think it'd be great to go there. You know, at the beginning, I sort of thought that I'd limit myself to watches that offered a GMT or dual time complication. That's how I started, and have one from each brand, and sort of like, okay, this is my thing. That was the rule of a couple of years ago, and that's sort of like that one went out of the window when I got more into like pieces like Lange pieces, and I felt like I really connected with the classical approach and modern aspect of them and how they were melded together. You know, so I think I'll continue on that end, but you never know. You know, something might happen.
Beauty of it.
But yeah, I think I'd like to have as far as, you know, time only pieces. I think I'm covered. And GMT pieces covered, and so I think the next one would be like a grand complication of some sort. You know, I think definitely a perpetual or a tourbillon, or minute repeater as it would be. Minute repeater, I think we'll have to wait a long time for that. But yeah, I just, you know, there are certain things that you really, at a certain point, if you're where I'm at, you get into the aspects of watchmaking. That are the appreciating what it takes to reach a specific complication, and not only the effort but the execution, you know, and how that gets done.
Thank you very much
for
guys.
Coming in. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you so much.
Super interesting.
We'll see where we're on next year.
There we go.
Thank you.
So there you go, guys. That was our conversation with Alessandro Cortini, musician, composer, member of Nine Inch Nails. Thank you, Alessandro, for joining us. That was so cool to get to sit down with him and talk through a little bit of like his backstory, to hear where, you know, his collecting journey started, and obviously where it's gone, and where he is today, kind of in the world of deep in the world of Lange.
It was a very cool experience for us.
Yeah.
And we were really glad to get to share that with all of you, as well as the rest of this show.
Yeah. And honestly, so that was just a very small portion of our conversation with Alessandro. We're going to be posting the full interview.
Which is what, 40 minutes?
It's 40-ish minutes of our conversation. We go through a whole bunch of other stuff that was really fun. He's a great guy, has a really great eye, and you know, obviously like a very interesting perspective on the world of watches and gear and music and everything. So super cool, man.
While you guys were watching that.
This was amazing, yeah.
Yeah, while you guys were watching that, Justin and I went and read through some of the comments.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you to all of you who are participating in the chat there. We are going to figure out a way to get the comments a little bit more visible for us.
Yep.
And I think Justin and I were talking about next time we're going to leave a little bit more space so that we can interact a little bit more. We packed this first show because we weren't sure how it was going to go, but I think we need to put that back in because I want to talk to the people.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is all about you guys. Like, the whole reason why we do this and why we missed it so much was because we love to to just chat and communicate with other collectors and people that we might not get to see here in Boston. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for tuning back in after we were away for so long. We're going to do this every other week going forward. So every other Thursday, 5 p.m., subscribe, turn on notifications, follow our Instagram channel page. We'll let you guys know, when we're going to be back with another live show. But again, every other week, Thursdays, 5 p.m. Thank you guys so much.
Have a beautiful weekend, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
See you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.